It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
And welcome to the realm of geekdom. This is nerd breaking news. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss an episode whenever we post it up. But today we're going to talk about what was revealed on Monday. It was the Superman suit, and let's go ahead and put that up there and get everybody's reaction. And let's go ahead and start off with the Eagle.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. It looks. We don't see the entire thing. Obviously, this is the first preview that we get. It is important because this is David's first portrayal that we see him right outside of the pictures that we get the TMC releases. Um, but I don't. I like it. I don't know. It looks like it's kind of dirty, right? Like I don't know if that's going to be like the entire um outfit, but I think it looks good. I don't know the here on the neck portion, it looks like a really high as compared to what Cable had on the previous iteration of the Superman movies. But I don't know. So far, I like it. I think that the boots look nice all the way up. Um, and I think it looks good. But I don't know what else to say. I don't know what you guys think.
I'll tell you this. Superman's my favorite character. He's the GOAT of comics. He's the GOAT of superheroes. Um, and I've been saying this on the record that David Cornsweet is going to be the best Superman portrayal in history. I like the suit, but I don't love the suit. And I'm going to go, I guess, step by step. Um, the curls there, we got that. That's a positive. The Superman curl, we haven't seen that since Brendan Ruff, so that's cool. The collar reminds me of New 52 collar, right? So this is a combination of a lot of suits. This is the 1940s cartoons. This is the New 52. This is Kingdom Come. Um, so Twitter's been going crazy because there's been an overwhelmingly amount of negative reactions towards the suit. The way I see it is that people are saying it's cosplay, it looks fake. Even though James Gunn said that there was no CGI in this picture, it was just straight photo. Um, Here's the thing with the suit: the lower part is cleaner than the top part.
Mm.
Like you could tell that he's been battles. You could tell that he's been fighting. You could tell that he's gone through some stuff. Here's what the pro and the con for me. The pro, the cape is beautiful. It's long. That's awesome. The trunks are back. If you zoom in, the boots look cool. What the curls there? If you could, here's the thing about it. When you see this, yeah, it looks like Superman, but there's also stuff there that I'm like, what's going on here? For example, look at the lines on top of his shoulder near reaching this part, and then look at the lines on the bottom. I don't really mind the difference of color, where one's lighter, one's darker, because you can tell the top half is battle tested, and the bottom isn't. What I don't like about the suit is more about what's going on in the picture as opposed to the suit. The suit is always going to be controversial. When Henry Cavill did it, when Brendan Roth did it, when Christopher Reeves did it, it's always going to be bad. But here's the bad thing about the suit: the CW suit looks better, and that's a problem. That's a problem when Tyler Hoechlin's suit looks better than a big time production like Superman. And so here's the problem that I have: Cal looks like he's tired. Cal looks like it's another day for him. It's just a random Tuesday, even though the Metropolis is getting destroyed in the back. It looks like it's LexCorp if you zoom in. Maybe it might be LexCorp all the way in the end. And then it looks like obviously an alien fight of some degree, whether that's Brainiac, whether that's Lex Luthor. Something's going on in the background. And I'm not one of these people that are saying that Cal doesn't care, because I don't think he's not saying that he doesn't care, the body language. For me, it looks like he's tired, but he's also saying, I have a job to do. but he's not doing the heroic way. And I think the counter argument to that, people that are hating on that aspect, which I see both ways, is that when James Gunn did the review of the first chapter of the DCU, what was the image that he shown, guys? It was All Star Superman. All Star Superman is recently one of the best storylines of Superman in the last 15 years. There's a lot of influence of All Star Superman in this picture as well, because in All Star Superman, he's looking at you from the clouds, very nonchalant, very cool. Grant Morrison, who did the book, who wrote it, he said in a recent interview years ago, with regards to how he came up with that famous picture of All Star Superman, is that when you think of Cal that has no fear. Cal can't be touched. Cal can't be affected by anything outside of kryptonite. So he's calm, cool, collective. And that's how he wrote All Star Superman. So when you see David here, I think the tone of what James Gunn is doing is it's the everyday sense of the character of who Superman is, as opposed to the heroic, I'm here to save everybody. Because remember when Henry Cavill did his thing, they showed Snyder's version. He's on the safe, the vault, and he's holding on to it, and there's a battle going on, and he looks like he's getting into it. Brandon Routh has his arms in the traditional Superman thing, but that was the portrayal. Here is different. I think what they're doing here before giving the professor is that I think they're going the all-star Superman route, where they're looking at the character and the essence of Cal as opposed to the hero. Because what we see here, guys, is that he puts his boot on one day at a time, just like you. He has the rugged blue collar, just like the blue collar people. The tone that I think that James Gunn is doing is the tone of All-Star Superman. It's looking at a different version of Cal than what we've seen before. Well, that's going to work or not, it is what it is. We can't go too ham on this, unfortunately, because we have to see it in live action. We got to see him in the trailer. We can't just destroy that, because we do that with every single Superman thing. But I will say is that I'm not impressed. I'm just there. I'm just like, I'm a Superman fan. I love the fact that it looks better than Henry Cavill's, in the sense of it looks a lot more like Superman. But I'm also a little bit disappointed, because even though it looks like he's gonna go to battle and he's gonna go save Metropolis, I would have loved to at least seen a smile on his face, because then you give me a different tone of how Cal is.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do the opposite, because I'm not a Superman fan. I don't really read the comics. I have just a general knowledge of who Superman is. And one thing that really caught my attention, I love the cape, just like you said. That cape looks amazing. But it also looks like when you look at his actual, suit itself, kind of looks like it's baggy on him, and that makes it look a little weird to me. Like you could even see, like right by the handcuffs, there's like a thick layer there, and you see the wrinkles on the shoulders. I don't know, like it doesn't give that clean look that I'm kind of accustomed to. And then the whole darkness thing as well. I'm used to seeing as Superman being the Boy Scout, right? Big smile on his face, no matter what situation he's in, and that's not portrayed there. So there's a Superman that I'm looking at. I'm like, what is it really trying to tell me? Why does it look off for me? And I think it's just the dynamics of, like, this is not a Superman we're used to seeing, being kind of like down, beating up, or anything like that. We usually see him with that smile, and then the suit doesn't look like it belongs to him or something. It looked like he just went, got something out of the rack, and he had lost a few weights, and now he has this baggy kind of jacket looking thing instead.
All right, I guess it's my turn. So, in my mind, I call this Walmart Superman, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like they snatched this stuff straight from Walmart and they just kind of patched it together, put some trunks on it, put some boots on it, stuck a red thing on the chest, and put a cape on it. Said it's Superman now. The problem with DC Comics, and I've said it over and over and over again, and I think you all are going to agree with me. They tell the exact same stories every single time, but they change the characterization too often. So what happens is when you're looking at Superman, the key question is what version of the character are you talking about? Do you want that original? I think it's George Reeves Superman, which is a little bit more blue collar, which it seems is like what we're gonna get here. Or do you want the Christopher Reeve Superman, which is a little bit more optimistic? We can all do well together, and we can all try to look towards higher things. The thing is that when you're looking at that Christopher Reeve Superman, even though it might seem corny, that version might be more of what we need because it reflects more of how we all want to feel right now. Versus that first version, the blue collar version, putting in work, going from disaster to disaster to disaster, that version itself may not necessarily be the version that people need to see right now. It may not be the one we want. Do we really want to see Superman doing work like picking up bridges and stuff? Maybe for a couple of minutes. For a whole movie, I'm not so sure about that. To the kids' point, it'd be nice to see the characters smile a little bit because that's what's really been missing from a lot of our superhero movies. Now, the thing is, when you're looking at this costume, it looks like they took the worst of the New 52 costume and mixed it with the worst of the traditional costume to give you something that's just not great. So when you're looking at the collar, to the kid's point, I think it reflects that blue collar thing. But at the end of the day, that's that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Nobody asked for the New 52 collar to come back. I don't want to look at it ever again. Get rid of it. On top of it, too, now you have the cape, and the cape attaches to the shoulder area, and it looked dumb in the comics. It looks dumb here too for it to attach that way. No one, when you dream of wearing a cape as a child, you never dream of wearing it like that. That's weird. The arms are too baggy, so it looks like he's wearing a jacket, which reminds me of Smallville. And to me, if you're gonna wear a jacket, just put him in a jacket. Like, and maybe Smallville had the right answer. Maybe you can do Superman without a costume. We had it for years, and no one complained, and it worked. So if you can't do the costume right, don't do it at all. On top of it, too, you got the New 52 legs over here, but then you put the trunks on it. The entire point of all the lines on the New 52 costume were to take away from the fact that it didn't have the trunks. It balances the whole thing out. But when you have the trunk and the lines, it just looks like a lot. And the question is, a lot of what? A lot of what no one asked for. When you go back and you look at the Man of Steel costume, the Man of Steel costume had these stylized S's all over it. And when you looked up close, you were like, that's really cool. But when you spaced away from the camera, you couldn't see it as much. That worked. But the problem with this costume, to me, is they wanted to make sure everyone forgot that Henry Cavill was ever Superman. So they said, we're going to drop everything good about that costume so no one looks at it ever again. When the reality of it is, all you had to do was bring back that exact same costume, brighten it up a little bit, put a curl on the man, and call it a day. But rather than do that, they pasted together this thing that's okay, but ultimately it's just a dude. It's cosplay. It doesn't look right. That's my 10
Yeah,
cents.
you make a good point. You make a good point because I'm looking at the boots itself. They look like rain boots.
Yes. They're going for a blue collar look, and like, okay, but like,
we saw the first image of the logo maybe like a month and a half ago, with the snow, and we saw the logo, and I didn't love the logo, but I didn't hate the logo. If you look at zoom in the logo now, right, with the looks like he's battle tested. Look at the difference of this picture when the picture that got sent with a month and a half ago with the snow covered in the Fortress of Solitude. You can see the yellow outline of the S because
yep.
you can see that it was influenced by different versions of Superman before. And that's what I think that's what he's doing now. And I think James Gunn has to be careful because another thing we didn't talk about is that this suit looks like the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 suit that the Guardians were wearing. If you look at the Guardian suit in Guardians 3, it looks like the same material as Peacemaker, the same material as Guardian. In other words, it's the James Gunn trademark. And I think James tried a little too hard. Again, I think David, let me regurgitate this. I think David's going to be the GOAT. I think this movie, I don't know anything about this movie because we will go speculation on the plot. I think that he has the potential to be the GOAT. I think the problem is, look, there's always going to be a certain amount of people that are going to hate this film and hate David and hate James because of the Snyder thing and all that stuff, Henry and all that crap. There's always going to be like a small percentage of people that hate this film. But the film works if the casual people go and like this film. But as of right now, James has to take an L. And I'm saying this as a DC supporter. I'm saying this as a DC fan. And I'm saying this as a Superman fan. And I'm not saying it has to take an L because of the suit. We can't really go that far. What I'm saying, look at everything going on in this picture, guys. It's just not the suit. That's what annoys me about the picture. Cal looks like he's either in his apartment or Lois's apartment. There's clearly something drastically happened behind him. And I don't want it to be the same thing where I criticize Henry Cavill and Man of Steel, where everything's going on and he's essentially causing more damage than good. And the argument with the Man of Steel fans were, oh, because he just learned to become Superman. That's fine. That's whatever. Here,
That was
according
terrible.
to James Gunn, David's Superman is in the early years. In other words, there's already James Gunn already confirmed that there's already the Green Lanterns out there. There's already the Mr. Terrific out there. There's other heroes already established in this world. So Gunn, yeah, that's the first one,
Superman
guys.
logo right there.
That's the first one. That's the first one that he put. Again, you can't see it that well here, but you can see the yellow of the outline. That the suit was also divisive as well and polarizing because it's not really an S, guys. If you zoom in or zoom out, whatever way you want to do it, the S stops. There's not really a full S. And again, I don't want to.
It means hope.
Yeah, but that's based on the rebirth storyline and all that stuff. Like, I think the problem is that we all agree that it looks a little bit off, and you can't have that when you're restarting the damn universe. You can't have so many damn people saying it looks like I could have bought that at a store. That's a problem. And then when you have the lines, right, the lines that are going through his thing. Remember, there's no CGI here. David Cornsweet, if you look at the pictures, guys, for real life, he really did gain nasty muscle for this role. But this suit doesn't benefit him. It looks like, to TK's point, it looks like it's so baggy that I can't tell he's been hitting the last 6 months the weight room. You can tell that, don't get me wrong, he has the biceps. They're right there. But look at the arms. Look at the top of the shoulder. Look at that. It doesn't look like skin-tight, old-school Superman where you're like, oh, this guy is loaded. He's jacked. Here it looks like, man, he's lucky he's 6'4". He's taller than Cavill. He's lucky he's 6'4". He's the same age, same height as Christopher Reeves, because maybe when he stands up, it's gonna look better. So we need to see this in the trailer. We need to see him flying. We need to see him hitting somebody. But as of right now, we could all agree that it's more of an L than a dub.
I agree with that.
So again, James, I'm your supporter. I root for DC. I root for Superman. I just it's you can't. I'll say it like this: you can't have so many divisive opinions already off the bat. You can't do that.
I just wanted to put some more salt on the wound real quick. I think what also happens is there has to be some acknowledgement of who this generation Superman actually is, and the kid's gonna hate this, but it's Chris Hemsworth's Thor when you're looking at it. So my way of looking at it is, if you're trying to build a Superman, your best bet is to probably look at that Chris Hemsworth Thor and ask yourself what works and what doesn't, and actually build off of that. So when you're looking at it, what works about having this godlike creature that everyone likes? The sense of humor. To your point, the smile. It's what everyone loves about it. The emotional depth they throw in every once in a while to remind you that he's an actual actor. The whole thing works. To go ahead and to make a costume that's more grounded for a character that's really not supposed to be all that grounded at all, it's supposed to be exceptional, conceptually, have him not smile and have him be serious, those two things are almost contradictions. So when you look at it, you're like, something here's not right, but I can't put my finger on it. And it just doesn't stick. And this is the problem with Superman. Sorry, go ahead.
I disagree with that, because Man of Steel actually got ridiculed because of the God allegories that Snyder made obvious in all three of his films, however the trilogy with Henry Cavill. Also, remember, James Gunn has put in everybody's face that All-Star Superman is more influence, has the most influence of any other incarnation of Superman, and so it looks like, if you guys ever read All-Star Superman, it's not going that route of God. It's going the opposite. And so I think that's actually better, because it didn't work with Cavill's Superman. When you threw the allegories, I guess he has to sacrifice himself. I guess he's a God-kind creature. Here, it actually might work. As much as I agree with all you guys, I don't think the picture does it justice. I actually think you do need to go the other route. You can't go where Superman's a god, because that's just recent history. You have to go where, look at Kill Bill, right? Kill Bill, Volume 2, where he's doing the monologue of superheroes. And what does he say about Superman? Unlike Peter Parker and unlike Batman, Superman is born Superman. He doesn't have to become Superman. And so here, Here, it was never that he was a god in the 50s, 60s, the 70s, and 80s. That's 20 years ago. This happened with Superman the God storyline. I actually think they do need to go back and hit the middle class people. They do need to go back and hit the Joe Blows and all that stuff. Because Superman and All-Star Superman, it's more about, guys, it's all about Kal. It's not about the person, the title of Superman. It's all about the person that he is. And Gunn has alluded that this is going to be like a love letter to All-Star Superman and the Dick Donner Superman. If you do that, Jay, I think that's the way to do it. Dick Donner / All-Star.
But we actually don't necessarily disagree. Because to your point, Superman failed when they made him a god. But guess what? That's when Thor failed too. People don't want to see that. Thor works best when they were like, oh, he's an alien, not a god. And people like that. And the thing is, the parts of Thor that people really like absorb is the idea of he's not from here. He's a little bit weird, but he wants what's good for everyone and his people. That's Superman. When you're looking at it. And the thing is, to your point, making Superman a god was stupid. We all stopped and everybody's like, Superman's not even a god. What are you doing? What are you doing? He ain't Jesus. What are you doing? What are you doing? They went way off the rails like that about that. But how does Superman work as an alien? Consistently, we have seen that when you make him an alien, it works.
I think that James Gunn tried too hard. Unfortunately, he tried too hard.
Who?
The logo, James Gunn. The logo wasn't a home run. The suit is not a home run. So far, James, you kind of haven't had a base hit yet. You're kind of 0 for 2 because it's not about me. I'm gonna watch it. I love Superman. It's not about me. It's about the casual fans who said, "Oh, you know what? What makes this interpretation different than what Cavill did, what the TV guys doing, Tyler, what Dean Cain did, or the previous Supermans?" It's how do you get those guys to go to the movie? And to your point, we can't have the same copy and paste. And I think you have to go a route that is different than what Cavill did and what or Snyder and our favorite guy, Goyer. It has to. I think what needs to happen is that you need to go different. And we always talk about this. You got to keep changing it up. You can't do the same thing over again. And I think it is it's very meticulous what they're doing here. I don't think it's by mistake, guys. I think it's very, very. We're gonna hit you with a blue collar. This is my job. And sometimes you have a bad day in your job. Sometimes you don't want to do your job. And that's what Superman looks like he's doing. And to me, I'm 50-50 about, because Kal should always be, this is my job. This is who I am. I have to help people do it. And look at his face. He's not happy. He's not, I got to hurry the hell up. He's taking one foot at a time. Why? Because Gunn is trying to tell you guys, he's just like you.
And that I agree with you. Sense.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Because, like you said, they have to convince people like me who pretty much, they don't, I'm not really watching Superman. I'm not keeping an eye on it. I don't read the comics or anything like that. And I see this and I'm not interested. I see the logo. I'm not interested. What really is going to attract me to actually go into the theater? So with that, thank you for tuning in. Whether you're a Jedi, a time traveler, or a Justice League member, keep your fandom alive and keep your war breed engaged. Until next time, nerds, this is Nerd Breaking News.